was pretty excited. I thought this might be my first saw log of the bunch, but obviously that's not going to be the case. We'll have to see how deep that rock goes. All right, let's see what we get. I want to see how deep this goes. Oh, wow. This goes about 3 feet. Go another. I think I can still salvage one log out of this. So let's do 40 inches. There'll be 2 pieces of fireworks. I processed to 20 inches, and then we'll do a 16-foot saw log, and the rest we'll make into firewood. So I cut the 40 inches, and it's still a little punkier than I would like. So I cut off, here's the other end of that 40-inch. So I cut off another 20 inches, and it's much more solid. That's pretty good. I think that will be good. So I got a nice saw log, the first one so far. It's a 16-footer, 12.5 inches in the butt end and 10 inches in the tip, which I think will be a good size. That'll be another nice couple saw logs. That poplar is pretty good size. It's about the same size as the oak I just cut. I'll be able to get a 16 and an 8 out of that one. So we got that big group of poplars gone, and the red oak's gone. Now, some of you may be wondering why I leave the stumps up fairly high. The reason for that is it's easier to get them out. I'm probably gonna end up bringing my father's backhoe down here eventually and popping these stumps, and it's easier to get them out when you can have a little leverage and grab the stump up higher. But so if you look over, you can imagine it with me. Here's the edge of the pavement, and then the pavement stops right here, then turns into gravel. So if you can imagine, it's gonna kind of swing over like that. So those groups of trees are all in the way. That tree right there, that oak, is gonna have to go. And then it's gonna turn into the mill area. So I want plenty of room for trucks. This tree here, especially this red oak, has always been right in the way. Every time I plow snow or bring a trailer back here, it's right up against the side of the trailer or the plow, and I've wanted to get rid of it for a while, so it felt good to get that tree out of there. And then the poplars are a little less out of the way, but those had to go anyways. And I think those are gonna make some really nice lumber. I've never used poplar lumber. I've used spruce, pine, fir. You know, typically they'll call it SPF because it could be any of the three. But let me know in the comments, you guys that have mills and have milled different types of wood, how does a poplar do for framing lumber? Say, you know, 2x4, 2x6s for walls, or even 2x8, 2x10s for rafters or floor joists or something. Let me know how you guys like it. I know there's different types of poplar, and I've read that it's pretty good, but let me know in the comments, please. So check this out. I was cutting with the 7900 Dolmar. I started seeing sparks. I thought I hit rocks, but I knew I was several inches off the ground. And then I realized, look at all these driver links. They got worn off. It's like 5 of them in a row that are missing. It's kind of a shame because this is a nice chain too. Still got a lot of teeth left, but it's pretty useless now. Now, this red oak is probably, I'm gonna guess, maybe 80 feet tall. And I'm gonna say somewhere around 20 inches across, give or take. Well, let's measure the stump once we cut it, but let's see how big of a tree we can cut with the steel 250. I do have another chain for the Dolmar, and I do have other bigger saws. I have a Dolmar 5100 and I have a steel 460. But for anyone who's ever wondered just how big a little saw like this can cut, let's find out together. This is only a 45 cc saw, 3 horsepower. Well, we did it. The little 250 isn't too bad. I mean, it takes a while, but just goes to show you can cut these bigger logs with small saws. It just takes a long time. You gotta be more careful. The biggest issue, I would say, is safety-wise, is you can't cut as quick as the tree falls, especially if it has a heavier lean. That one wasn't leaning too bad, but if you had a bigger lean and you say you were gonna go to bore cut it, you're really not gonna have enough power or speed with a small saw to get through quick enough before the tree barber chairs on you. But for straighter trees that aren't falling as fast, it can be done. This is a nice little log. It's 19 inches on the butt end and 14 inches on the tip, 16 feet long. So I think this is the biggest one yet. Well, we got a decent little pile of firewood logs. If you averaged it out and made a rectangle, it would be about 4 by 8 and then 10 feet long. So that's 320. So I'm going to say there's probably around 2.5 cords of wood there. And we got a nice pile of saw logs going. There's red oak and poplar. And I think there's a couple pines in there too. They range anywhere from 8 feet to 12 feet to 16 feet in length, and anywhere from 9 to 10 inches in diameter all the way up to about 21 to 22 inches. So I actually had a friend of mine, shout out to Carl if you're watching, he advised me to paint the ends with latex paint to keep them from drying out too quickly and keep the moisture in there until you saw them up. He said if you don't do that, you'll end up getting cracks and checks and it'll ruin a lot of your lumber. So I'm hoping to do that this weekend. They do make products specifically for sealing up the ends of the logs, but it's also really expensive and I don't want to spend the kind of money it's probably costs. So I'm just going to use some old latex paint I have laying around. But I will say it felt good getting into some bigger timber. I don't mind cutting up those little scrubber dub trees, but it was fun getting into some bigger wood and using my bigger saws and having a good time. I do appreciate you guys watching. As always, please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content, and we will see you guys next time.